Good morning and welcome back to the Faith in Formation podcast. It is Monday, December 8th, and we are in the book of 2 Kings this morning. I hope your Monday is going well so far. You had a good morning. You spent a little time in God's Word, and now you're here on the podcast. Shout out to all of our teenagers. We had a great night last night. We had our teen Christmas sing and had some good time singing some carols, sharing some testimonies there. Last night after the church service. If you weren't there, you missed out. And asked some of the teens that were there. We had a really good time, had some good pizza, some good food, some good fellowship, and had a really great time. And I'm sorry if you missed that. If you were with us, you know that how good that was. So this morning, we are in, as I said, 2 Kings chapter 15. But it is Monday. Start of another week. We're getting close to Christmas time, though. It's December 8th, and Christmas time is coming fast. The Christmas day, the gifts are being wrapped probably around this time, and the trees are all up, and the lights are shining, and we're in the spirit of Christmas, and I hope that you are in the spirit of Christmas, feeling the joy of the Lord and the joy of remembering Christ coming to this earth so many years ago. All right, well, moving on to 2 Kings chapter 15, the title of our devotional this morning is Evil After Evil After Evil. Before we hit that, though, let's look at a memory verse for the week. It comes from Matthew chapter 7, verse 21. It says there, "Not every one that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven." Matthew 7, verse 21. Commit that to memory, and I'm sure it will be a help to you. All right, 2 Kings chapter 15, we're in verse 18. That's our topic verse here for this morning. It says, "And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not all his days from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin." Now, this chapter is just amazing in that we really see a cycle. And in the chapters around this one, you start seeing a cycle of kings of Israel who are evil. And then they don't last very long, and then someone else takes over in some kind of violent way, usually. And then they don't last very long because they're also an evil king, and they also do evil in the sight of the Lord. And they get replaced by someone else, and then the same thing happens again and again, and this cycle emerges. And if you know your Israeli history, you'll know that the northern kingdom of Israel had a lot of kings that were wicked. After the split of the kingdom to the north and the south of Israel after Solomon's reign, you start to see that the kings, the lineup of kings that ruled over the northern kingdom of Israel were just wicked. And we see a lot of that here in these chapters in 2 Kings. And so in 15, this verse that I read there is very, very common of many of the kings that were over Israel. They did evil in the sight of the Lord. They depart not from the sins of Jeroboam, their father or grandfather or great-grandfather or great-great-grandfather, whoever it was down the line, pointing back to Jeroboam. You could say their great-grandfather king, the one who really started all of this in the northern kingdom, they followed after him and departed not from those things that Jeroboam really started. You ever heard the phrase, one step forward and two steps back? Well, if you read this passage, it's more like 20 steps back, and it seems like you're never gaining any spiritual traction, never going forward. And the thing that really stuck out to me as I was reading this is that nobody learned from anyone else. Nobody. It was evil king after evil king after evil king, as the title reflects, evil after evil after evil. And the kings that came into power never learned from the other ones. They never said, okay, they did what was wrong. They did things that were not pleasing to the Lord, and they were destroyed, and they met a violent end. I should maybe change my ways, and maybe things will go better for me. No. Not a single one of them thought that. None of them. They just evil after evil after evil, and they didn't learn from one another. There's a lot of really takeaways you could grab from this. There's a lot of things you could learn in lessons, but really this is the one that I want to focus on here this morning is you have a lot of people who love and care for you around you. They have a lot of experience as well. And so the challenge this morning is learn from those people. Learn from those people. Here's a little something for you to hold on to and to carry with you. You can learn something from everyone. You can learn something from everyone, whether it's older than you, your age, younger than you. You can always, if you talk to someone for a little while, you can find some kind of a lesson, something that you can learn from everybody. You can. And so my encouragement to you this morning is do that. When you're talking to people, learn from them, learn from their experience, learn from their mistakes so you don't have to make the same ones. I've heard parents and authority figures talk about, well, these young people, they're in that stage of life where they just need to make their own mistakes and learn from them. No, that's kind of ridiculous if you ask me. They should look at others, the mistakes that have already been made, the paths that have already been walked, the hazards that have already been fallen into or avoided, and learn from that. Why make the same mistakes again? And so my challenge to you as a listener, whether you're a teenager or otherwise, is learn from others. Learn from their experience. That requires a little bit of communication, a little bit of friendliness, a little bit of that. But once you get to that stage where you are able to talk and communicate with people, learn from them. Learn from their experiences. Everybody has a different experience in life. Learn from those. And it will allow you to grow faster, to become a more knowledgeable person and a greater Christian faster without falling into all those pitfalls that other people have fallen into. If these kings had just looked at the ones prior and said, okay, they've done evil, let me change my ways, maybe I can turn this around, maybe I can last a little bit longer here as the king and rule well. No, they didn't do that. If they had just done that, the story here in 2 Kings chapter 15 may have been very different. So as you go through your teen years or whatever your years that you're in your life now, keep your eyes open. Look to others, learn from others, and it will help you to live a blessed life. So that's our lesson from 2 Kings chapter 15 this morning, and hopefully we can learn from others. As you go to prayer this morning, we want to spend some extra time praying for the lost around us today. In your area, the ones that your missionaries speak to in foreign countries, those that you know of, maybe your friends, maybe some of you, your family that's not saved, those that you know of that are lost. Pray for them this morning in particular. And then for our teenagers in particular, we want to lift up Brianna this morning and pray for her. All right, perhaps a little bit of a shorter devotional this morning, but I think a very straightforward and clear lesson. Hopefully it was a blessing to you. Thank you to all of you listeners joining and being a part here in the Faith and Formation podcast. If you would like, leave a comment below. Let us know something that you enjoyed, something that you agree with, maybe a short little story that you want to share with us here at the church. We'd love to hear from you. I like to read those comments, and I may not be able to respond to everyone, but if you would like to use that comment function below, do so, and I'd love to hear from you. Thanks again for being a part this morning. Hopefully it's a blessing to you, and we'll see you next time.